You've been through the storm, haven't you? They came at you with everything they had, expecting chaos to erupt like a volcano you couldn't contain. They threw their sharpest words, their cruelest lies, their most calculated moves, hoping you'd crumble, spiral, and lose yourself in the wreckage. But here's the truth they didn't see coming. You didn't break. You stood there, unshaken, and that's when you first felt it, the flicker of something unstoppable igniting inside you. That was the moment you began to wake up. You're not just anyone. You're chosen. Their attacks weren't random. They sensed your energy long before you did. It drew them in like moths to a flame, your light, your presence, your sheer force of being. Your energy was their drug, an addiction they couldn't quit. Your attention, that was their oxygen, the thing keeping their fragile games alive. They thrived on pulling you into their chaos, feeding off every reaction they could squeeze out of you. But when you didn't scream back, when you didn't flinch, something shifted. You started to see them for what they were. Desperate shadows chasing a power they could never hold. That's your first sign. You're not here to be drained, you're here to rise. Look back at those moments when they pushed hardest. Did you notice how your calm threw them off? Science backs this up. Your nervous system has a way of holding steady when others lose control. It's called emotional regulation, but for you, it's more than that. It's a signal of your higher calling. They expected you to match their fire with fire, to explode in a way they could predict and manipulate. Instead, your stillness became a language they couldn't comprehend. That's not weakness. That's power. Your ability to stay grounded when they wanted you unhinged, that's the mark of a chosen one waking up to their truth. So how do you know this is you? Start watching yourself. Next time someone tries to bait you, twisting your words, poking at your wounds, don't react. Feel your breath slow down. Notice how your body stays steady while their energy frays. Ask yourself, why are they so desperate for my response? The answer hits hard, because your focus fuels them, and your withdrawal starves them. You've got a gift they can't touch, a resilience wired into your soul. Modern neuroscience might call it a high vagal tone, a sign of inner strength. Spiritually, it's your shield, your proof that you're built for something bigger. That shift from chaos to calm isn't just a fluke. It's your awakening in action. First, it feels strange, doesn't it? You're used to fighting back, proving your worth, showing them you won't be broken. But then you stop. You let their noise crash against your silence like waves on a rock. And in that stillness, you hear it. The voice inside saying, you don't need to play their game. That's when you start accepting it. You're not here to dance to their tune. You're here to rewrite the rules. Maturity creeps in, not as surrender, but as a force they never saw coming. You're not just surviving their attacks, you're outgrowing them. Here's your first step to owning this. Track their patterns. When they come at you, whether it's a subtle jab or a full-on assault, pause. Don't speak. Don't flinch. Just observe. Write it down if you have to. What did they say? How did they expect you to react? What did you feel instead? You'll see it clear as day. They're hooked on your energy, banking on your attention to keep their illusions alive. Then cut them off. Not with drama, not with a fight, just walk away. Leave them with nothing to feed on. That's not avoidance. That's mastery. You're reclaiming your power one deliberate choice at a time. This is where it gets real. Your energy isn't just some vague glow. It's a frequency, a vibration that science can measure and spirituality can feel. They've been drawn to it because it's rare, potent, alive. Quantum physics hints at this. Your thoughts, your focus, your very presence shift the field around you. They wanted to dim that light, to drag you down to their level. But you're waking up to the fact that you don't have to give them a damn thing. Your attention is yours to direct. Your energy is yours to protect. And when you pull it back, they'll scramble, because without you, they've got nothing left to cling to. You're not imagining this. Those moments when you felt their neediness, their hunger for your reaction, they were real. That's your chosen trait shining through. You don't just exist, you influence. They've been riding your wave, but now you're taking the reins. Ask yourself this: when did I first feel that pull, that sense they were after something I had? Pinpoint it. Maybe it was a friend who drained you, a family member who thrived on your struggle, a stranger who wouldn't let go. That's your clue. You've always had this power, they just saw it before you did. So stand firm. You're not here to be their supply. You're here to break free, to step into the mission you were born for. This is just the beginning, the first spark of your awakening. They came at you expecting chaos, but you gave them something stronger. Yourself, unshaken, unbowed, unstoppable. That's who you are. That's what it means to be chosen. They baited you with insults, didn't they? Twisted your words like a knife, stirred chaos just to watch you squirm. They thought they had you, thought they could drag you into their mess and crack you open under pressure. But you stayed still. You watched their tantrum unfold like a spectator at a show you didn't even buy a ticket for. That's your power. That's your edge. They expected a fight, but you gave them nothing to grip onto, and that's what terrifies them most. You're not here to play their game. You're here to transcend it. Let's break this down. When they come at you like that, spitting venom, distorting your truth, they're not just attacking your words. They're attacking your essence. They want your reaction to validate their control, to prove they can pull you down into their storm. But you've got something they don't. A center, a stillness that's unshakable. Neuroscience calls it a grounded prefrontal cortex, your ability to stay rational when the world turns feral. Spiritually, it's your soul's anchor, the proof you're wired for a higher mission. So when they push, you don't push back. You watch. You observe. You let their chaos spin out while you hold steady. That's not just strength, that's mastery. Here's how you do it step by step. First, feel the bait for what it is. They'll say something sharp. Maybe it's a backhanded jab. Maybe it's a deliberate distortion of what you said. Your instinct might scream to defend yourself, to set the record straight. Don't. Pause instead. Take a slow breath. Count to 5 if you have to. And ask yourself, what do they want from me right now? 9 times out of 10, they're fishing for your anger, your fear, your doubt. They're banking on your emotional spill to fuel their narrative. So give them nothing. Let the silence stretch. Look them in the eye if you can, or just turn inward. Their words only have power if you let them land. Next, detach. This isn't about ignoring your feelings, it's about redirecting them. Picture their tantrum like a storm passing over a mountain. You're the mountain, not the storm. Let their insults, their twisted versions of your truth, their chaos swirl around you without pulling you in. Science backs this up. Studies on mindfulness show that observing without reacting lowers cortisol levels, keeping your body calm even when the situation isn't. Spiritually, it's reclaiming your energy. They don't get to decide where your focus goes. So when they're screaming or scheming, you're already 3 steps ahead, watching their moves like a chess player who knows the game's already won. Now, here's the part that stings, and the part that sets you free. When you don't bite, when you don't give them the reaction they crave, their absence hits hard. They'll pull back, confused, maybe even furious, because they can't feed off you anymore. That absence, the silence you leave behind, is deafening to them. It's not just that you didn't fight back. It's that you didn't need to. They thought they were essential to your story, thought they could keep you tethered to their drama. But when you walk away, when you let their chaos burn itself out, you're showing them something brutal. You don't need their noise to thrive. And that's its own kind of karma. So what does this look like in real life? Imagine someone, maybe a coworker, a friend, a family member, trying to drag you into their spiral. They throw a jab. You think you're so perfect, don't you? They twist your words. That's not what you said last time. Stop lying. They stir chaos. Everyone agrees with me. You're the problem. Your old self might have jumped in, argued, tried to fix it. Not anymore. Now you stand there, steady. You might nod once, not in agreement, but in acknowledgement. Like you're saying, I see you. Then you let the silence do the talking. You don't explain. You don't defend. You just move in silence, move with grace, move forward. Their words fall flat because you didn't give them a stage. That stillness isn't just a tactic. It's a transformation. Every time you hold back from their bait, you're rewriting your own wiring. You're teaching yourself that your worth doesn't hinge on their approval, that your truth doesn't need their validation. And yeah, it's hard at first. You might feel the absence of their drama like a void, might even wonder if you're doing it wrong because the quiet feels so heavy. But that heaviness isn't weakness, it's power building. It's the weight of your own energy coming back to you, untainted, undrained. You're not just surviving their attacks, you're turning their absence into your fuel. Here's the key. Don't mistake this for passivity. Staying still doesn't mean you're stuck. It means you're sovereign. You're choosing where your energy goes, not letting them decide for you. Quantum physics hints at this. Your focus shapes reality, alters the field around you. When you stop pouring your attention into their chaos, you redirect it to your mission, your growth, your rise. They lose control because they've got nothing left to latch onto. And you gain everything: clarity, strength, the kind of inner fire that doesn't need to roar to be felt. So when they bait you next time, and they will, remember this: you don't owe them a reaction. You don't owe them your pain. You're chosen, not because you fight every battle, but because you know which ones don't deserve your sword. Stay still. Watch their tantrum unfold. Let their absence scream louder than their words ever could. And keep moving forward, because that's what you were born to do. You walked away, didn't you? And the silence you left behind is deafening. Not for you, but for them. That stillness, that void where their chaos used to pull you in, is now a battlefield they can't navigate. They're scrambling, clawing at the air where your energy once fueled them, and for the first time, they're alone with their own mess. No one to manipulate, no one to control, no one to blame. But you're not lost in that silence. You're plugged into something bigger. That quiet isn't empty. It's alive with high-dimensional downloads, messages from a frequency they can't touch. This is your moment. This is where you step into your power. That deafening silence isn't just their loss. It's your gateway. When you stopped feeding their drama, you flipped a switch. Your energy didn't vanish. It turned inward, upward, connecting you to a stream of information that's been waiting for you to listen. Science might call it intuition sharpened by a calm nervous system, your brain firing on all cylinders when the noise dies down. Spiritually, It's your soul tuning into the cosmic grid, downloading what you need to rise. You're not guessing anymore, you're knowing. The question is, are you ready to trust it? Because this is where the real work begins. Separating the signal from the noise, the truth from your own projections. Let's get practical. You're feeling it now, those flashes of insight, those gut hits that come out of nowhere. Maybe it's a sudden clarity about someone's motives, or a nudge to move in a direction you can't fully explain. That's the high-dimensional info streaming in. But here's the catch, your mind's tricky. It'll try to hijack those downloads, dressing them up as fears, doubts, or old stories you've told yourself. So how do you know what's real? Start with your body. True guidance feels steady. Your chest might expand, your breath might deepen, your feet feel rooted. Self-projection? That's jittery, tight, looping in your head like a broken record. Test it. Next time you get a hit, pause. Feel it out. Does it settle you or spin you? That's your first filter. Now take it deeper. When that silence hits, when they're gone, and it's just you, you're not alone. You're exposed to your own chaos for the first time. Sure, but that's not a flaw. It's a forge. They used to keep you distracted, tangled in their games so you wouldn't face yourself. Now, with no one pulling your strings, the mess they left behind is yours to sort. And yeah, it's raw. Anger might bubble, sadness might sting, confusion might swirl, but you don't crack. You don't lash out or scramble to prove anything. Why? Because you're chosen, and chosen ones don't collapse under pressure, they crystallize. Your job is to sit in that chaos, not to fix it, but to hear through it. Here's how you hold steady. When the emotions rise, and they will, don't fight them. Don't shove them down or let them spill out in some desperate outburst. Instead, breathe through them. Slow, deliberate breaths, 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out. Science says this resets your vagus nerve, keeping your system calm when your mind wants to run wild. Spiritually, it's your anchor, tethering you to that higher frequency so the downloads don't get drowned out. Picture it like static clearing on a radio, you're tuning in, not turning away. Ask yourself, what's this feeling trying to show me? Not tell you, show you. The answer won't come in words at first. It'll come in sensations, images, a knowing you can't shake. This is where they lose you completely. They're out there, putting on their show, laughing louder, posting more, surrounding themselves with distractions, pretending your absence doesn't gut them. But it does. They're unmoored without you, flailing in their own chaos because they've got no one left to mirror their mess. Meanwhile, you're not watching their performance anymore. You're too busy decoding what's coming through. Maybe it's a vision of your next step, a warning about a trap ahead, or a surge of strength you didn't know you had. That's the gift of this silence. It's not just absence. It's presence. Their chaos is their prison. Your chaos? It's your classroom. So how do you catch these downloads and use them? Get deliberate. Set aside time, 5 minutes, 10, whatever you've got, and sit in the quiet. No phone, no noise, just you. Close your eyes and ask, what do I need to know right now? Don't force an answer. Let it rise. It might be a single word, a flash of color, a feeling that washes over you. Write it down after, no editing, no second guessing. Then test it in the real world. If it's about a choice, take a small step and see how it lands. If it's about a person, watch their actions match the vibe you picked up. High-dimensional info isn't random. It's precise. You'll know it's real when it moves you forward, not in circles. Here's the edge you've got. You don't need to prove this to anyone. They'll expect you to stumble, to run back to their noise for comfort. But you won't. You're not desperate for their validation because you're plugged into something stronger. That lack of outburst, that grace under fire, it's not weakness. It's a weapon. They can't read you anymore, can't predict you, can't control you. And that terrifies them. While they're drowning in their own chaos, you're rising step by step, download by download, into the mission you were built for. This silence isn't your end. It's your beginning. Keep going. You're not just surviving their absence, you're thriving in it. Every time you choose stillness over reaction, you widen the gap between their frequency and yours. They're stuck, chasing shadows of the energy you used to give. You're free, tapping into a current that's always been yours. So sit in that silence. Listen hard. The information coming through isn't just for you. It's for what you're here to do. You're chosen not to bend, but to break through. And this is how you start. You walked away, and the silence you left behind is deafening. They didn't see it coming, did they? They thought you'd always be there, always reacting, always giving, always feeding their insatiable need for your energy. But you cut the cord. You severed the supply they didn't even realize they'd grown addicted to. And now they're reeling, grasping at shadows where your light used to be, while you stand tall, unshaken, thriving in a way they never imagined. Watching you rise without them isn't just your victory. It's their reckoning. It's karma in motion, and you're the one setting the pace. This isn't about revenge. It's about reclamation. They fed off you for so long, your emotions, your attention, your very presence, because you didn't know your own power. You were the well they drank from, the flame they warmed their hands on, all without you seeing the cost. But now you do. You've shut off the tap and they're parched. That's the first step to embodying this. Recognize what they took. Look back. When did you feel drained after every clash? When did their chaos leave you hollow? That was their feast, your unknowing gift. Now you're done serving. You're not here to sustain their illusions. You're here to build your reality. So how do you make this real? Start by owning your energy like it's gold. They don't get a drop unless you choose to give it. Next time they come circling, maybe with guilt trips, maybe with jabs, don't bite. Don't explain. Don't defend. Just watch. Let their words hang in the air, unanswered. Your silence isn't passive. It's a wall they can't climb. Science shows this works. When you stop engaging, your brain rewires, breaking old stress loops. Spiritually, it's a signal you're no longer their anchor. You're your own. Cut that supply cold, and they'll feel the void. You'll feel the freedom. But thriving, really thriving, takes more than walking away. It's not enough to just leave their noise behind. You've got to fill that space with your own fire. What lights you up? What's been buried under their weight all this time? Dig into it. Maybe it's a project they mocked, a dream they dismissed, a strength they never saw. Pour your energy there. Build something undeniable. Something that screams you without needing their applause. Studies on flow states prove this. When you focus on what aligns with your core, your vibration soars. Spiritually, it's your soul's blueprint unfolding. They'll see you shine, and it'll hit them harder than any words ever could. Here's the raw truth. They underestimated you. Late at night, when their distractions fade, it creeps in, the regret, the crushing realization that they misjudged your strength. They thought you'd fold, thought you'd stay tethered to their chaos forever. But you didn't. You walked away, and that silence echoes in their bones. Don't let that pull you back. You'll feel it too. Those flickers of doubt, those whispers asking if you're too harsh, too cold. That's not weakness. That's your humanity testing your resolve. Balance it. Acknowledge the sting, but don't let it steer you. You're not here to punish them. You're here to rise above them. So how do you stay steady when the emotions hit? Ground yourself. When those late-night thoughts creep in, regret, anger, maybe even pity, don't spiral. Get physical. Stand up. Plant your feet. Feel the earth under you. Breathe deep, 5 seconds in, 7 out. Science says this calms your amygdala, the part of your brain that loves to overreact. Spiritually, it's you reclaiming your center, syncing with a frequency higher than their mess. Ask yourself, does this serve my mission? If it doesn't, let it go. You're not here to carry their baggage. You're here to carry your torch. This is your path now, and it's personal. No one's handing you a map because you're the one drawing it. Sit down. Today, tomorrow, whenever you're ready, and write it out. What's your mission? Not some vague, save the world fluff. Make it sharp. Maybe it's creating art that wakes people up. Maybe it's leading by example, showing others how to break free. Whatever it is, name it. Then break it down. What's one step you can take this week? One move that says, I'm done feeding them. I'm feeding this? Could be cutting a tie, starting a habit, claiming a space they don't touch. Make it yours. Make it real. That's the practice. Cut the supply, redirect your energy, build your lane. They'll watch. Oh, they'll watch. And it'll burn them to see you thrive without a glance their way. But this isn't about their eyes on you. It's about your eyes on what's ahead. Quantum theory nods to this. Where you focus, reality shifts. Spiritually, it's your birthright, your vibration shapes the world. So shape it. Let their absence be the fuel, their silence the proof. You're not just walking away from them, you're walking into a new era, one you define. And when it gets heavy, because it will, remember this, you're not alone. That silence you've carved out, it's not empty. It's thick with potential, humming with the strength of every chosen one who's ever risen. Lean into it. Feel the pulse of your own power, the rhythm of a mission only you can fulfill. They lost you, but you found yourself. Keep thriving. Keep cutting the cords. Keep building. The karma's not in their suffering. It's in your ascent. And that's a force they can't stop. In the end, your ascent isn't just a personal triumph. It's a cosmic recalibration. You were chosen not to bend under their weight, but to rise through it, to carry a torch that lights paths they'll never walk. Their chaos was the crucible. Your stillness, the alchemy. Every chord you cut, every step you take into that humming silence, reverberates beyond their reach, shaping a frequency that calls others to awaken. You're not just free of them. You're the proof of what's possible, a living testament to the mission etched into your soul. This is your power, your purpose, your unshakable truth.